Unreal Engine 5. Epic Games announced the early access version back in May of 2021, and oh my god did it take the world by storm. And yes, I really do mean the world. The engine has so many features that will help creators in so many different industries and not just gaming. Even back then, people were asking if Ashes of Creation would be swapping to UE5. At the time, I said there is no way they should switch. It was too early, and who knows what kind of bugs and issues could pop up. But fast forward, and we have seen many successful projects being produced on the early access version with minimal issues. Then December rolls around, and Intrepid gives us the news that they will be switching to Unreal Engine 5. At this point, my opinion had changed. This was huge news, but I was still a little concerned that they were only in early access. As we all know, dates in game development are so often not met, so honestly, who knew when we were going to get the official version? Then, last week, Epic Games announced UE5 has moved from early access status to Preview 1. Now, if you look at previous Unreal Engine launches, this would indicate that they are around 1 to 2 months from the full product. I spent a bunch of time diving into the new features and changes so you guys wouldn't have to. There are some good ones, but also some that could be a little concerning. So, let's discuss that. Reminder, if you enjoy the content, please do drop a like and subscribe so that I can keep making this content for you all. I also have a couple of videos on the channel already doing an in-depth rundown of some of the features found in the UE5 early access version and what they will mean for the Ashes development in the long run. So go check those out if this video interests you. Now let's jump right in to what I would consider the most exciting new features: the new IK Rig and IK Retargeter. For those who don't know, IK stands for Inverse Kinematics, and it's how Unreal Engine handles animating skeletal characters. I actually never got around to making an in-depth video on this feature, but with this new update, that may be coming in the near future. But today, let's just focus on the changes we saw with the new update and how this could really speed up development for Ashes. Now, IK Rig allows you to add animations onto already existing ones. For example, a moving character looking at a target. This will allow the creation of incredibly realistic movements and animations that previously would have required creating many separate animations. But the truly exciting one is the IK Retargeter. Let me just read exactly what this does and see if you can figure out why I am so excited about this. IK Retargeter enables you to rapidly and robustly transfer animations between characters of different proportions across different skeletons. The retargeting can be done either at runtime or for offline creation of new animation assets. So do you see how exciting this actually is? This allows them to create one set of animations per skeletal type and apply it to characters of all sizes and proportions. The key here is that proportions can be different. Now, obviously, we have seen many games that have different size monsters, but think about World of Warcraft, for example. You may have different sized monsters, but the monsters' proportions are all the same, only the scale has changed. And I know it's built on a 20-year-old engine, but that's what makes this example so easy to spot. Newer games use certain methods to try and trick you into not realizing it's the same monster, just scaled up. But Ashes doesn't have to do that. They can actually vary the proportions of the skeleton itself with minimal extra work to make more unique and different monsters, which will definitely help add to the immersion and discovery aspects of the game. But what is one of the most important things to almost all RPG characters? Their ability to feel connected to their character. That is why so many of us are excited about Intrepid's intentions to make a character creator that is better than, or at least rivals, the best ones out there. IK Retargeting will help them achieve this far easier. You only have to create one animation, and it can work for a towering Renkai, a tiny Nikua, or even the small and stocky Dunir. Intrepid also wants to make each race have its own unique feel, not only through looks, but also their animations, how they walk, how they stand, etc. Now, some of this may require separate animations, but this is actually where the IK rig that we talked about earlier becomes incredibly useful. The IK rig allows additive animations, so Intrepid could use a base animation for all races and add unique twists on top of that for each individual race. I hope this is as exciting for you guys as it is to me. But grab your tinfoil hats, because I have a theory that is just a tad conspiratorial. Intrepid may either have access to, or at least have known about these systems long before the rest of us did. How closely they work with Epic definitely seems possible to me that they may have access to these tools and knowledge that others don't. Think about how we have seen monsters, mounts, and pets be created. They release cosmetic packs with different types of animals in them, saying that this will help them create and populate the world. If you go back and look, there are very few repeated animal types. That is an insane amount of animation work to be done, especially if they didn't know that this could easily be translated into lots of similar but different types of monsters. This also could be the reason showing us the work on the character creator could have been delayed. If they are using the tools ahead of others, it might have become apparent showing us the creator just days after UE5 went into preview status. Now, obviously it doesn't really matter, and we will probably never know one way or the other, but I just thought the theory was kind of interesting, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. Let's move on to some other features, and I actually want to talk about the one I find potentially troublesome. For those who are unaware, Nanite only works on static meshes, so it doesn't help with grass textures and foliage, but the quality of foliage has been drastically improved with the update. Seems like a good thing, right? Well, take a look at this open field. The first is the project being run in Unreal Engine 5. This is running on a 3080, so a pretty damn good graphics card. We're only seeing 60 FPS. Now take a look at it in Unreal Engine 4. We're getting double the frame rate at 120. Now take a look at the project back in UE5, but with the grass turned off. Back up to 120. So granted, there may be more optimization that will be done in the future for this, but the fact that grass alone can be this resource intensive is a little concerning. I have heard so many people say, well, UE5 is supposed to reduce the hardware costs. That is not necessarily true. What it does is reduce the hardware cost of making things look amazing. You don't need to have a fancy ray tracing card to make the lighting look really good. Now, obviously some of this is also design decision. It is up to Intrepid to decide how detailed or intensive they want anything in their game to be. So I'm not too worried, it is just something to keep our eye on moving forward. Speaking of ray tracing, however, with the update, UE5 does now fully support hardware ray tracing. Now, with how good Lumen looks, ray tracing is very unnecessary in a project of this size, and Intrepid definitely shouldn't worry about it for launch. However, this is good news for the future. As ray tracing gets better and hardware for it becomes cheaper and more powerful, they could implement it somewhere down the line. There's also one more feature that should also help speed up development, and that has to do with the Quixel Bridge. The Quixel Bridge is the tool that allows environmental artists to import their assets into a UE5 project. Aside from some nice UI fixes, an environmental developer can now directly drag an object inside the Quixel Bridge into the world. Previously, you would have to click the object, wait for it to download, and then place it into the project. Now, the engine will create a temporary mesh. This can be immediately placed, and then it will work on downloading the full object. This will allow Intrepid to create areas within the game far quicker, especially with the new UE5 feature that allows multiple people to work on one area at a time. The artist can place their objects, get a feel for the look and the layout, and then come back later to do additional passes after everything is finished downloading. The last thing I want to talk about is that they changed their world coordinate system from a float integer to a double, which if you don't understand what that means, well, neither do I really, and it doesn't really matter. Just know that they increased the possible size of the world from roughly 10 to the 38th power to 10 to the 308th power. That would be 270 more zeros on the end of possible coordinate numbers, which is really hard to comprehend. But if you've seen this video that compares Jeff Bezos' billions in terms of grains of rice, it gives you some kind of idea. And just for reference, a billion only has 9 zeros on the end of it. Here's someone on Twitter who traveled from the world origin within a UE5 project to 1 trillion kilometers away. To me, this is more just fascinating than actually relevant to Ashes, but Intrepid definitely won't have a problem creating the world in the size that they want to. Now, I don't know if this excites you guys as much as it does me, but I cannot wait to see what Ashes of Creation is going to become. With UE5, we're truly looking at a next generation MMO. Now, obviously Unreal Engine mostly has to do with graphics and world creation, but we already saw the backend and server stuff running far better in Alpha 1 than most other MMOs on the market today. Which, to me, means the only question about this game's success are the in-game systems and mechanics. Which is why Intrepid wants this open development process, so that we can give the feedback needed for a game like this. If you want to follow along the development process with us, make sure to subscribe and hit that alert button. We'll have lots of videos going over certain game systems and what our feedback is on them, especially as we move into Alpha 2. I will also be watching out for more information about UE5 and what is possible for Ashes of Creation. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.